We've got conflicting reports about the return of Yadier Molina to the Cardinals next season. I'm going to give you both sides of the story, and you can judge for yourself what you want to believe on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio and the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. That way you can interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted, because this is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Well, first and foremost, we know who is in the World Series now. Was waiting to put this episode out so we could talk a little bit about it, but congratulations to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Unbelievable. Can you guys believe this? The Arizona Diamondbacks come back to knock off the Philadelphia Phillies. They win 2 in Philly. Game 6 and 7 to finish it up. So it's going to be the Rangers and it's going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks. And we've got Cardinals on both sides playing against each other. Former Cardinals, I should say. Obviously, I don't play for them anymore. But that should be an entertaining World Series. I know probably Rangers Phillies was probably the one everybody wanted to see after the Rangers had defeated Houston on Monday night, but the Diamondbacks, man, no quit. They go through Milwaukee, they go through the Dodgers, now through the Phillies. If they beat the Rangers, that would be 3 straight teams that have a $240+ million payroll that they would have beaten. That's crazy. That's crazy. And all 3 of them were the highest paid teams that were still remaining in the playoffs. Dodgers, Phillies, and Rangers are the top 3 left because both New York teams didn't make it and the Padres didn't make it. So wild stuff. Anyway, last week, a story broke courtesy of Martin Kilcoyne at Fox 2 in St. Louis about Yadier Molina. Let's get to some Cardinals focus here. I'm just amped up because the game just ended. About Yadier Molina returning to the team next year as a coach. In a nutshell, the story was that Yadi and the Cardinals had at least discussed the idea of him coming back next season and joining Oli Marmol's staff in some capacity. Bench coach was the description that was brought up. And, excuse me, although no terms or contracts had reportedly been discussed yet, the two sides had what was called mutual interest in something like this happening, where Yadi would come back and begin his major league coaching career. Now, when I first heard this, my reaction was that this made all the sense in the world for the Cardinals and for Yadi and for the fans. I mean, for Yadi, you get the jump start on becoming a manager in the major leagues, which is something that he reportedly wants to do at some point. Why not start it with the Cardinals? Makes sense, right? For the Cardinals, they get to trot number 4 back out there on the field again in a Cardinals uniform, get to wave to the fans, tip his hat. Probably a dozen or so Yadi giveaways, similar to the Wainwright craze this year at the end of the season. That would certainly encourage ticket sales, and they get to have one of the greatest minds to ever play for them, working for them again in a full capacity in that clubhouse. For the fans, we get to see Yadi, man. We get to see one of the greatest and most popular Cardinals of all time back in the fold, back with the team, with hopes that his intellect can help one Wilson Contreras become a better catcher, that all of this knowledge that he's got, he could pour that into a pitching staff that crashed and burned this season, get them back to a respectable level, plus help a young manager and a young pitching coach who seemed overwhelmed at times in 2023. What can he help them with? There's plenty to like about the situation. The negative side, as I brought up when we first talked about this was the possibility of things being a little bit uncomfortable for manager Oli Marmol. In the last year of his deal, he's coming off a horrendous season for the team. Would he be able to function normally, having Yadier Molina standing right there behind him, just waiting to pounce on his job if he fails or he isn't re-signed? Kind of a tough spot to be in. But before any of that can even take place, the move has to happen first, right? And we've got conflicting reports on how close this actually is to becoming a reality of Yadi coming back to the team in 2024 as a coach. Let's start with the Bob Nightingale story at USA Today. Said this about the situation on Sunday. The Cardinals are speaking to future Hall of Fame catcher Yadier Molina about a potential major league coaching job, but it appears to be a long shot. Not great, Bob. Not great. That's not exactly what we wanted to hear from you, Mr. Nightingale. We didn't want to get all excited about this move for nothing. But then we get the update on Monday from KTRS reporter Luis Nola. He reports that Yadi did an interview at a radio station in Puerto Rico, WKAQ 580, where Yadi said, "There is something cooking. I have had various offers in the United States last year with the Miami Marlins and St. Louis. This year, I have offers too. I think there is something cooking with St. Louis. There is a 90% chance that it happens. They are decisions that someone must take in the future. I see myself managing, coaching in the United States for a few years. I like it. I am a guy that is fascinated with baseball, and I am passionate about it. To have an opportunity like that, I cannot pass." Now, another quote that I saw on the Fox 2 News website had Yadi saying this as well to that quote right there that I gave you, that he said, "St. Louis has given me the opportunity to consider coaching. It would be an opportunity that it will be hard to say no to. I love St. Louis." So we get both of those reports. And then there's that old saying, right? Straight from the horse's mouth that seems kind of relevant here. I don't want to accuse or say that Bob Nightingale doesn't know what the hell he's talking about or that he doesn't have knowledge. People kind of kick him around online for his goofy tweets. My buddy just the other day sent me a tweet of his that he was making fun of something that Nightingale said. And he's like, "Look at this run-on sentence." I'm like, "Well, whatever." But if Yadi's doing interviews and using verbiage like 90% chance that it happens, I'm going to say there's a pretty good chance it happens. I mean, 90%, that's a lot. That's a lot. I remember, what is it? What's the grading scale now? 90 or above is an A in school. I remember back in the day, there used to be A minuses and stuff, but I think it's just A, B, C, D, stuff like that now. So 90 or above is an A. So there's an A chance that Yadier Molina is coming back to St. Louis as a coach. And if you aren't familiar with, Major League Baseball or any professional sport for that matter, the league normally doesn't want you trumping the headlines of the playoffs or championship games with big news. Like, they prefer that you wait until after this stuff is done, and then people can start making announcements about things, and that's just kind of how it works. So if Yadi were to decide to come back, perhaps, and this is just me guessing, I'm not saying this is what happened, but this is me just guessing, perhaps both parties are just kind of waiting for the proper time to announce something like that. The Cardinals didn't do a postseason press conference to discuss what's going on, what happened, what the future is going to be. They feel like they've already covered those bases plenty in other interviews. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's the delay on this. And as I said before, I don't believe the Cardinals would do something like this without the approval and 100% backing of their current manager, Oli Marmol, no matter how difficult it would be for him. I don't think the Cardinals are that big of jerks to just be like, well, we're just going to bring Yadi in whether you like it or not. And good luck. I just don't feel like that's something they would do. You can call Oli all the names that you want. You can destroy him for questionable managerial moves this season. Blame him for everything that went wrong if you want to, despite John Mozeliak saying and taking blame, saying, I'm the one that put this team together, not him. It's not his fault. I decided that this pitching staff was good enough. It wasn't Oli. They had a buttload of injuries up and down the roster, but if you want to blame Oli for all that, that's fine. But something that I don't think you can say anymore is that Oli doesn't want to win, right? Especially if he decides to go along with this. I mean, if he's on board with this, basically putting his possible and very likely replacement right next to him in 2024 in hopes of turning this ball club around, I got to respect that, right? It's either quite courageous or completely idiotic to do that, because if there is the slightest hint of failure going on with this team next year, I don't care if it's April or May, if things aren't going well, that people are going to just start begging for Yadi to take over full time. Most fans were asking for it last year. Fans want Yadi as the manager and Waino as the pitching coach, or Chris Carpenter and Matt Holliday as the hitting coach, or Albert Pujols and Okendo at third and Vince Coleman at first, and Ozzie coaching infielders and Willie taking care of the outfielders. They love these guys. These guys are legends to them. They want them back on the field doing their thing. And another thing to think about is if Yadi doesn't come back to St. Louis, if he decides to come back to the major leagues but coach for a different team and not St. Louis, what kind of blowback are you looking at as an organization if he goes on to manage another team? Because there are squads looking for managers right now. Astros, Mets, Padres, Guardians already have openings. Fans didn't want to see Skip leave. He did, because he got a chance to be a manager. Had a lot of success in Miami this year. Imagine if Yadi did that. Does the same thing. Cardinals don't bring him back. Yadi goes somewhere else and is really, really good as a manager, while the Cardinals perhaps suffer through another tough season. I mean, imagine what the comments are going to be then. We're going to continue to monitor the situation, obviously, and as soon as I hear anything new, I'm going to pass it along to you. That's what I'm here for. Up next, though, I want to do some listener feedback to yesterday's episode about how to persuade top-of-the-line free agents to choose St. Louis over bigger markets. We'll do that next on Locked On Cardinals. October baseball is back, and you can make your postseason debut with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Join FanDuel today, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Guaranteed. $200 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 bet. Now, all you got to do, guys, is visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Create your new account. Very easy to do. Then you get in on the action from the first pitch until the final out. We know who's in the World Series now. You know it's going to be the Rangers at home in Game 1 against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And you can bet on everything from strikeouts to home runs to who will win the game. Going to bet on Adolis Garcia? That guy came out of nowhere. I don't know what team had him before he was with the Rangers, but that's a cool story, right? Kind of reminds me of another guy, Randy Arozarena, who did similar things for the Rays a couple years ago. Again, I forget where he started, but he's pretty good now. Doesn't matter. But betting on Garcia or Montgomery, who was outstanding in the ALCS, Chris Stratton, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. You go Corbin Carroll with the Diamondbacks. You can Ketel Marte just won the NLCS MVP. Not a bad idea to choose these guys. And if you don't want to wait the whole game to get a W, predict what will happen in the next at bat with quick bets. So head on over to FanDuel.com/LockedOn right now. Step up to the plate this postseason with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave comments on YouTube in the comments section, as well as Twitter X anytime you want. Go ahead and hit me up. Your feedback always welcome and encouraged. Now, on Monday, I gave you the story about how prize Japanese pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto reportedly covets the opportunity to play in a large market. That's what we're hearing. That's what he wants to do. So my question for you was, what would you do if you were Mo and Oli and Bill DeWitt and trying to persuade someone like Yamamoto to come to St. Louis instead over these large markets? How do you choose St. Louis over New York or LA, any of these other big markets? And here are a few of the responses. Some of them are funny. Some of them are are just angry, but here's a few of them that started. J Money says, we've got 11 World Series rings. That's it. And then drop your mic and walk away. Well, the Yankees got more than the Cardinals, so that probably wouldn't work with them. But if he was thinking about going to the Mets, maybe that would be something you say. User RH says, tell them we are moving the team to Nashville, Tennessee, and starting with a whole new front office, ownership, coaching. Okay, user, that would be lying because that's not happening. So I don't think that's the best way to start a relationship is with a lie. Shame on you. Ace Rob says, I would say, look, we got JD Haffer to make videos about you and make you a big star. Hell yeah, Ace. That's what I'm here for. I'll win him over. Send him my way. I don't know a lick of Japanese. Not a lick. Like, I don't know how to say anything. But I'll interview him on this podcast. And we'll make a big star out of him. Look what we did for Victor Scott. Victor Scott, outside of the top 30 when we first met him, eked into the top 30, and now he's like one of the top guys in the organization. I'm not going to take all the credit, but I'm going to take a little bit of the credit. A lot of people are just saying money is the obvious answer. Overpay them. That's how you win them over. That's the simple way to do it. Honestly, the best way is to throw more money at them than the other guys. That's really the number one answer. I got a bunch of people saying sign Trevor Bauer. Guys, I don't know how many times I've got to tell you this. I'm going to say it one more time, unless, some news pops off that Trevor Bauer is coming to the States and the Cardinals want to talk to him. But does signing Trevor Bauer sound like something that the St. Louis Cardinals organization would do? Right or wrong, does it sound like something they would do? It doesn't matter if you would do it. Do you think the Cardinals and the way that they sign people and the types of people that they sign, knowing their history, do you think they would actually entertain the idea of signing Trevor Bauer? Maybe they would. Maybe they're so desperate right now that they would change their whole philosophy about the type of person that they bring in. But I just don't see it. Whether you agree with it or not, I just don't see it. And I'm sorry. CPVU says, we do not have anything to offer. We have talented players and always broken players. We trade off our talent. We do not develop anymore, and we hold on to people praying for a change. They have shown that people do not want to come here anymore. We got Arenado and Goldie and then rested on our asses and got complacent. No big aces want to and are coming. The fans will not hold them accountable and enable this club to keep pooping the bed. He didn't put pooping, by the way. DeWitt, being as smart as we keep hearing, has to be the leader. Poop rolls down from him. He didn't say poop either. Start firing or get out of the damn seat. It does sting watching guys like Adolis Garcia and Randy Arozarena just going berserk in the playoffs over the last couple of years. Monty dominating on the mound for Texas. Alcantara's winning Cy Young awards. Zach Gallen pitching in the NLCS and going to the World Series now. Last night, I actually put up a poll while watching Garcia just put on that show in Houston. And I asked if you were if you could take one of those four guys back, who would you want it to be? You can have one of them back. You bring them back to the Cardinals, no cost. No, you don't have to get rid of anything. And you can have Garcia or Sandy, Arozarena, or Gallen. You can have one of those four, bring them back. Who do you think everybody voted for? I was a little surprised. Not because the fact that he's going to be out next year. Sandy Alcantara with 39% of the vote. Tommy John surgery, not pitching next year. That's who the fans voted for, 39%. And then second place was Zach Gallen at 35. Third was Garcia at 15. Fourth, Arozarena at 11. And I will give you credit. At least the voters were consistent with choosing a pitcher because that's what this team needs. But just look at those four names. I saw a joke online. A guy that his handle's Tripolar Steve posted it. It was a picture of Garcia. I wish I had downloaded it for this, but it was a picture of Garcia and Arozarena side by side, and it said in a circle 37 combined at bats. And then Rangel Ravello, remember him? Got more at bats in a Cardinals uniform than them combined. And it was true. I went and looked it up because I'm like, is that real? Yep. Ravello in 2019 and 2020 accumulated 84 plate appearances. He hit 189, 3 home runs, 13 over RBIs over 42 games. Adolis Garcia, 25 years old at the time in 2018, got just 17 at bats, hit 118, no home runs, 1 ribby over 21 games. His OPS plus was minus 21. Rosarena, 24 at the time before he got traded. 20 at bats in 2019, hit 300, 1 home run, 2 RBIs in 19 games, OPS plus 135. They screwed up. It's plain and simple. Like, just beating the drum for this. And I don't know why Cardinals fans want to keep bringing it up so much, because it sucks. The odd thing is the Rangers also DFA'd Adolis Garcia. Nobody talks about that part, though. Everybody makes fun of the Cardinals, rightfully so. But nobody talks about the fact that the Rangers also DFA'd Garcia. And nobody claimed him. Nobody else went after him. So all these fans of teams like the Cubs, because I saw online that the Cubs fans were kind of ribbing the Cardinals fans last night. Again, rightfully so. It's okay. But they were giving them crap about letting Garcia get away. Y'all got to point the finger at yourself, too, because all of your teams didn't sign him either. Didn't want him. Y'all had a chance to grab Adolis Garcia. Every single one of you. And none of you did it. And if you guys want to throw something back in the Cubs fans' face, what are we on time-wise? All right. I got one for you. That is similar. It's similar move to what the Cardinals did with the Adolis Garcia that the Cubs did. And I'm not talking about Lou Brock, because that's easy pickings. It's something else. I'm going to tell you what it is next on Locked On Cardinals. You're going to love it. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. Great deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, so you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting excited about the fun you're about to have. Whatever event you're going to. You going to a Blues game? I know they lost tonight. It's a bummer. Going to an NFL game? Perhaps. College football? Going to go see Mizzou? College basketball? What about Mizzou or SLU? Going to any of those games? Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event, with exclusive flash deals on tickets for all your favorite sports: football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer. Come on now. Concerts, comedy, theater, it's all taken care of. And they've got the Game Time guarantee, which means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time credits you 110% of the difference. I used Game Time this past summer to get tickets to ball games. My wife and father-in-law used it to go to an NFL game recently. Tickets are sent directly to your phone. You don't got to fumble through your email anymore. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB, save yourself some money, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, so the Cardinals, we're getting kicked around a little bit, aren't we, for the Adolis Garcia trade? Cardinals DFA'd him so that they could sign, what was it, KK? Isn't that KK? He was on, they took him off the 40-man roster, DFA'd him so that they could sign KK, the relief pitcher from Korea. And nobody claimed him, and then they traded him to the Rangers for cash considerations, okay? That was the deal. And now he's a big star in Texas. And apparently Cubs fans in particular were really enjoying this online last night. Again, it's fine. It's all right. We can do this to each other. It's all right. But I got one you guys can throw back at the Cubs fans and Reds fans if you want to. This is a good one. How about this transaction? December 7th, 2006, the Chicago Cubs draft outfielder Josh Hamilton from the Tampa Bay Rays in the Rule 5 draft, and then immediately sold him to the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds end up hanging on to him until the next December. Then they trade him to guess who? The Texas Rangers for Danny Herrera and Edinson Volquez. Guys you're probably not all that familiar with. What happened next? All Hamilton did after that was go on to become a 5-time All-Star, won 3 Silver Slugger awards, an MVP, a batting title, ALCS MVP, took the Rangers to a couple of World Series. So you can make fun of the Cardinals all you want. You can make fun of them all you want, but it's still pretty wild. You got to admit, pretty wild that the whole league misjudged Adolis Garcia's talent. All of them. All of them. Because they all could have had him. All of them. You could have had him after the Cardinals DFA'd him, and you could have had him after the Rangers DFA'd him after the Cardinals traded him to him. And nobody wanted him. Nobody. I know it's kind of double trouble for the Cardinals because, the Cardinals had him, dumped him, then traded him, could have got him back and said no thanks again. I get that. But everybody else didn't want him either. And teams misjudge talent and screw up stuff like this all the time, don't they? It's not just the Cardinals. It's all over the league. Like, how did Albert Pujols get to the 13th round in the draft? Mike Trout made it to the 25th pick of the first round. The Angels drafted another dude before they took Trout. Randall Grichuk, former Cardinal. Cardinals took Shelby Miller that year ahead of Mike Trout. The Dodgers traded Yordan Alvarez. Everybody was talking about him, obviously, in the ALCS. He was a monster. He's been very, very good for Houston, like a superstar. Dodgers traded Yordan Alvarez to the Astros for a relief pitcher, Josh Fields. The White Sox traded Fernando Tatis Jr. back in the day for James Shields. All of these guys were prospects. They didn't know. They misjudged the talent. I could go through every team and find you moments like this. It just so happens that Adolis Garcia just did it, and Randy Arozarena had just done it a couple of years ago. So that's why the Cardinals are getting kicked in the teeth right now, and that's fine. But how many times have the Cardinals fleeced other teams in trades? Cubs took Lou Brock from you. Willie McGee got him from the Yankees. Thanks, New York. Padres gave us Ozzie Smith. Matt Holliday got him from the Oakland A's for nothing. Jim Edmonds from the Angels. Appreciate you. Scott Rowland. Hey, Phillies. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed the guys we gave you. Nolan Arenado from the Rockies. Paul Goldschmidt from the D-backs. Edgar Renteria from the Marlins. We could go on and on. Good and bad things happen to every franchise. No front office is perfect, no matter what you say. And I know we're crushing the Cardinals right now because of recent mistakes, but the body of work of this organization says that normally they know what they're doing and they get it right. But yeah, tough pills to swallow right now, faux show. But I wonder who you're rooting for now. Who you rooting for in this World Series? You rooting for the Rangers with Montgomery and Stratton and Adolis, or are you going with the Diamondbacks? Tommy Pham, Zach Gallen. Who do you like? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. I'm sorry this one came out so late. I wanted to watch Game 7 of the NLCS, and it just got really long. So sorry it came out so late, but appreciate you guys, each and every one of you, for being a part of Locked On Cardinals. We've got some guests coming. We've lined up some dudes and ladies to join us here on the podcast. So some more stuff coming your way here real soon. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter, X at @LO_Cardinals, into JD Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Help that channel and love for the Cardinals grow. Like, subscribe. We're inching towards 8,000 subscribers. Would love to get us there before the end of the year. So do me a solid. I appreciate you. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.